Before I get into the presentation, I just want to talk about who we are as a company if you're not familiar with us. Recently, Greatech Group acquired Ideate Software, and we're really excited about this opportunity to keep growing. As a company, we're much more than just our software. We're known for our online extensive help system, including product documentation, workflow topics, and educational videos. We're supporting and upgrading our software in the last 4 releases of Revit, that is Revit 2022 to 2025. Our solutions are as similar as possible. However, if there is a new feature that was implemented in a later version of Revit, we do take advantage of that and we include it in a later version of Ideate software. We support our solution in 7 languages, and we have customers across the globe in every geographical region. And we have a fantastic technical team who's super eager to help. We have a YouTube playlist. If you haven't been on our YouTube page, we do have that. Please go ahead and check that out. And we also have ROI calculators, including for Ideate Explorer, Ideate BIMlink, and Ideate Apps. Before I talk about Ideate Automation, I just want to give you a general overview of Ideate software tools, and because the Ideate software automation tool utilizes Ideate software to run some of these tasks, so it's a good idea to get an overview of what these tools do. First up, we have Ideate Explorer. Ideate Explorer is a true project model browser. It shows you every instance in the Revit building model. It basically allows you to easily navigate and review these elements, auditing and swapping these elements. Unlike the built-in warning manager, we also have a warning manager that is with Explorer. You can interact with the model as well as the warnings to get more information about it. In the context of this presentation, the warnings manager is what Ideate Automation uses to export these warnings. We have a unique ranking system for warnings. As we know, we understand that not all warnings are important right away. You may want to sort it by importance, high, low, medium, and low ranked warnings, and address them in that fashion so you know what to resolve first. Second, next we have Style Manager. As we saw in Explorer, it helps you to view all these model elements in the Revit model. However, these elements are made out of object styles, line styles, materials, fill pattern, parameters. So how do we manage all those? That's why this tool came about, and it was created to easily understand the style in your model. You can then merge and purge them, and you can even find those styles within the families and to ensure clean Revit model. Next, we have Ideate BIMlink. Ideate BIMlink allows you to export huge amount of data and their parameter values to Microsoft Excel. Then Excel can be utilized to review, make changes, and then push them back into the Revit model. It becomes your go-to tool to manage all your Revit data needs. And this tool comes in with pre-configured link definitions that allows users to get productive really quickly and easily. And in the context of automation will go ahead and run this tool in the background and export things. For example, your QA/QC or health check definitions, and we'll have a look at that when we talk about automation. Then Ideate Sticky allows you to work in Excel, PDF, and Word documents in their native format. Information like non-BIM data can be linked back into the model and stay up to date. These information can be manufacturing data, code lists, code matrices, general notes, and hundreds of other documentations. Then we have Ideate Apps. It's a collection of 10 productivity tools within Revit. We have things like renumbering or view creator, sheet management tools, or cloning, aligning, and the latest one is Annotate. This was released in June 2022. It has a browse tab, which allows you to look for annotation element in your Revit model, much like Explorer, but this is directly just annotation elements. Then we have a review tab. This is the important one to understand in the context of automation. If you're trying to understand annotation issues in the model, like your zero length dimension or elevation marks with no elevation, or elements is tagged twice. So automation will launch the model and then look at your annotation issues. So then you can run that off hours. And then annotation clashes, which is unique to us. It basically tells you if there's text on top of each other, like tags or text or dimensions or any other annotation element, making your documents not legible. So then what you can do is automate running this clash detection and try to understand your model. So now we get to the fun part of the presentation, Ideate Automation. So what is Ideate Automation? It's a Windows application that automates your Revit tasks. It is compatible with Revit 2020 to 2025. It can or cannot, doesn't have to, utilize the Ideate software solutions like BIMlink, Ideate Explorer, Ideate Style Manager, and Ideate Apps. It is designed to run with minimal inputs and delivers accurate and predictable results. So what is the premise behind automation? As we've been saying, we want to automate repetitive common repetitive tasks and make sure that we are on point when we try to export things that are recurring. For example, like your COBie data, your data DIR or QTO or health check metrics, or any deliverables like the PDF, NWC, IFC, and DWG. Well, you can run these off hours and make sure you have predictable results. These examples, for example, you can run something like in Excel and you have that exported regularly, or you're opening your Revit model and have that ready at the start of your day. So this is basically a list of the Ideate Automation workflows that does not need the rest of the tools to run. For example, the file opening, PDF export, IFC, NWC, DWG, and also file maintenance like auditing, updating, archiving, and publishing to BIM 360 or ACC Cloud. You have 30-day trial. You can try that on our website and get that downloaded. Then at the bottom of the list is all these tools that needs to have the other tools downloaded as well, like the dynamic PDF, DWG, NWC, and IFC export. We recently added IFC dynamic, so that's really nice to note. And so what this allows you to do is have a dynamic sheet set generated when you're exporting, for example, to PDF. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, and it utilizes BIMlink to build that list on the fly. Then we have health check reports and Power BI templates, document issue records, style manager usage and reporting, quantity takeoff, COBie data prep, annotation clashes reporting, and Ideate Explorer warning reporting. This is what the UI looks like. So we have the software version. We're at 3.3 right now. Then this is what the homepage looks like. It basically has a getting started guide at the top, and this might be collapsed here in the latest release. You can easily drag it down to see what it is. And it has getting what's new, help topics, or getting started guide, or setting up your Ideate Cloud Connector, which I'm going to talk briefly about that. And also it has new task or repeat task, clone, schedule, and it also has the history in which you ran these tasks. And for each task, you can select it and you can go open log location if you need to access your logs. Then the create tab, much like BIMlink, which has defined link definitions, this is basically the scripts that we ship. And this list is going to keep growing, and you can always have your custom scripts, which you can start with some of our starting point that we ship and then try to customize it based on your need. Then we have files, so we support live cloud models and local models. And so this is a list of all the models that you have access to. You can go ahead and search for them, and you can sort them by, let's say, your version or whatever that you want to easily access where models are. Then we have the task, which is basically your scheduler that is built in within our tools. And so it tells you when this task is going to run, when it was last ran. So we have the in-product task scheduling, which I just mentioned. It basically allows you to schedule these tasks within the UI, which is something that we've added. For example, what we're looking at right now is scheduling an opening of the Revit model at the start of your day every morning at 7:30 a.m. And you can tell it, do it weekly, and these are the days. So then you can start at the beginning of your day and have that ready for you. We also recently added the schedule now feature, which allows you to, instead of running the task, make sure it runs, which we recommend. However, if you want to save time and you know that this task ran before and you understand that it works, you can easily hit schedule now instead of running it. We also added in product a task log viewer. So if you click on the history of the tasks and try to figure out what happened with the task, you can see, you click on it, you can read that this is what happened to it, and then you can click on show details. It will take you to the log where that line item, where that error happened. Then if you have, let's say, multiple models being ran on this certain task, it tells you there's 5 that you need to review. When you click on them, it goes to that. This is what that would look like, the experience. So you can click on it. This one says successful. This one says, by the way, I can't find the JSON file. That's why this task failed. You can go ahead and click on show details, and then it goes right to the log to see that. Then if you have a task that has multiple models, it says 2 out of 5 succeeded, then you can go ahead and look for your items that failed, and you can basically double click on it and it goes to the line item. For example, this one, it cannot locate the sheet set when it tried to do a PDF export. Then we have the ability to see what happens to the task in the task scheduler. So it says if it's completed or not. Then if something is missed, let's say your computer is turned off and you can't tell if something is ran or not. In the past, we couldn't tell if something was missed or not, but we recently added the feature that would say missed if a task was missed. I want to talk about this little concept here, which is using the file list. So in each task, when you build it, you pick a Revit model. But in this little workflow here, you can utilize something called use file list. So what this does, it basically takes a list of your Revit files and writes them to a TXT file using this script called generate Revit file list. What this enables you to do is generate a TXT file that you can reuse on multiple models. Or let's say you don't need to rebuild the task once again, you're just adding something to it. And this becomes really useful for tasks that you kind of run periodically, like you always publish to BIM 360 on Thursday at 5 p.m. Then you have this list. Or let's say you just had started a new model and you just want to add it to that list that already the task is set up, then you can go ahead and add it to that TXT file and run the same task without having to rebuild the task. Concepts of closing work sets. So basically we've added this to all tasks that are enabling you to open or close work sets or define it by name, contains the word link, starts with the word links or ends with the word link. So you can actually define and figure out which work sets you want to close upon, let's say, a PDF export or file open, whatever task that you want. We also have the ability to open as detached. This is really nice to have. For example, if you want to export to IFC, during this export, what happens, the parameter value gets pushed back into the Revit model. Maybe that's not something that you want. Then you can easily tell the task to just open as detached. And there are certain tasks that actually borrows a lot of elements when it does the work. For example, running things on Style Manager that is going to touch a lot of things in the model. So if people are working on it, maybe it's a good idea to detach it and make it a lot faster and get that information that you need. This is a concept to understand how you can collaborate across team when you're working on the script development and creation and task execution. So the first, we define, I guess, 3 methods within basically running these tasks. We understand we're trying to cater to diverse needs in both script development and creation and task execution. We believe that having one solution, one size fits all, is not optimal, is not the optimal approach. I can easily see all these 3 workflows implemented at a given organization. So if I go through them, the first one is creating the task on your machine and then running them on your machine, or have multiple user building the tasks and then offloading it to another machine, maybe more powerful, to run these tasks. Maybe it's a dedicated machine, or you have one user that's building the machine, the tasks, and then other computers basically running these tasks. And I've written a blog on that, scaling Ideate Automation in your organization. I went through some of these workflows that you can implement. Let's have a look at some of these workflows. So we've touched briefly on opening file process. So why is this important? Before you open the Revit model, you need to understand the Revit version, hub, and project. And some of these models take 10 minutes to just open. This process allows you to schedule this, or you can do it on demand. All these tasks can either be scheduled or on demand. And it basically eliminates the need to remember, what Revit version was it, where is it located, and you can define your work set conditions on file open, which is really great to have. In the same vein here, basically opening models in the same session, if that's what you want to do at the start of your day, opening the model in the same session, you're able to do that. We have a separate script for that. Exporting to PDF, DWG, NWC, and IFC. These are all outputs that, reoccurring for everybody. You have to deliver on them. They're very time consuming. And you have to do them for all tasks. They're very error prone. You have to, figure out a way how you can automate that. So what this solution does, it eliminates you to manually open the Revit model, go in and try to figure out what the sheet set and view set looks like, all that. And you can also schedule that off hour. For this export workflow, all you need is the Revit model, and you need to know what view and sheet set to use to run the task. The export to PDF, I just wanted to let you know that this is supported for Revit 2022 and forward. This is because we're using the built-in PDF writer that was introduced in Revit 2022. However, all the other export workflows works for Revit versions 2020 and above. Keep that in mind if you're running this export to PDF script. The idea of dynamic. So I talked briefly about it earlier. So dynamic sheet and view set lists. So we understand in Revit sheets, they're a static list. You have to have someone go into the model, make sure your sheet set is updated, either removing or adding, basically removing and adding views to them or sheets to them. But then we have the approach in which it utilizes BIMLink to define the sheet set on the fly, utilizing a parameter. So for example, on the screen, you're seeing sheet number begins with S20. So let's say you set it up for 3 models, and this script will go to each one and build that sheet set on the fly, and it pulls all the PDF set that you need that begins with S20. And so this can apply for PDF, DWG, and NWC, and actually we just added IFC like I mentioned earlier. So you can basically define it. So this is how this method will look like. So then you launch automation, you go to the Create tab, Publishing Dynamic, and you are doing combined. It tells you I need BIMLink as well as Automation 3.0. This is the lower one. The live cloud model is what I'm going to pick here, and it tells you the version as well. I can say, okay, I want to close anything that has the word link in it when I export to PDF. This is the location in which it's going to export, and this is the BIM link that I've created externally. You can define this externally using on multiple models. So this one tells you SD, anything that begins with SD. And then this is what it's going to be named. And these are additional options. You can see, you can hover over the I to get information on what these parameters are. So additional settings is now a toggle. I know you're seeing a plus here, but it's now a toggle. You can click on it. It shows you additional settings. Like for example, I want to use the one that is defined externally for BIMLink, not the one in the model, depending on what you want to do. Then this is where the location is going to be, basically AUT sheets is going to be located there. That's the location where it grabs the BIMLink definitions. It shows you script variables in the command at the bottom. That's what's going to get sent to run this. So when you execute the task, this is on demand, as you see. So it launches the Revit version that's designed for that model, 2024. And then it suppresses pop-ups in here, and then loads in that link definition that we saw earlier to generate the sheet set on the fly. And then it basically, when it's done, it will close it and it tells you how long it took. So now it still says it's running. The name and task, the duration, and this took 1 minute. Then you can go to the export location. You see the file name is as we designed. Then you can see that there's 7 that got created as a result of this export. And this can be multiple models, etc. So in the same vein here, the BIM link definitions, we had requests where people want to use multiple sheet set. They want to open the model once when they do this. So then I'm doing 2 exports here, one that exports all the sheets and the other one just exports sheets that has A1, for example. So it's going to do the same process, except it's going to have 2 export files. So we talked about briefly about publishing. So publishing to BIM 360 ACC cloud. So in order to do that, you need to be a design collaboration owner to set up that schedule task. You need to be admin. You also need to do it once. You can only do it once a week. So these are the problems that currently exist. And also it publishes the entire team's folders, including all the models that are in there. And there is no options to exclude links. So with our solution, you actually have one location for setup. So you say we can create one task that's publishing models from 2021, 24, etc. You can have it all in one task. And you can also tell it, okay, I don't want it with links. You can publish it more than once a week. And it allows you to do all that. So it's more than what you already what you have on BIM 360. Oops. So in order to do this publishing, you actually need to set up a BIM 360 ACC integration. This allows you to basically access, choose your local and live cloud models. For the live cloud models, in order for you to publish, this is the only task that requires this. If that's something that you're looking to do, you need to set up your integration. That was in more information about that was on that homepage. So recently we've added the exclude. So in order for you to actually get up-to-date information from the live cloud, let's say you just got invited to a new project or project got renamed, you need to refresh file list. So in order to do that, it actually needs to go through the folders to find if there's any Revit models on there. So we have this feature that's called folders to exclude that was released later. So you can actually exclude things that begins with the word archive or consumed, or maybe it's your shared folder that you want to exclude, or something that you have in there to lessen the time it takes for that refresh to happen. And that was a feature request, and we've added that. Upgrading families, Revit family files and maintaining them, it basically allows you to upgrade, audit, and compact RFAs to a specified Revit version, deleting all the backups RFA files, and perform detailed family file health reporting. So for this specific workflow, we support either families that live in a library location or families that live within a Revit project. So both of these will export information like the file name, Revit version, the category, the file size. If it's in a model, it tells you how many instances of it was it used or who created it. Any nesting that are on there, any geometries, CAD imports in there, is it shared? Is there any custom parameters, any error counts or warnings? So it's a list of information about your families that have been requested by our customers, and so we've added it in there. Next, we have the ability to audit compact Revit files, and we can also perform comprehensive and model metrics, which we will look at that in a second. And we have a supplemental Power BI template and examples that are available that you can request. So in terms of model maintenance, we have things like file naming. If that's something that you want to look at your Revit file data, you can track how long it took this to open this model. Where is it located? So you can actually run tasks like that. and track information about your model. Then this is one of the really popular workflow, which is utilizing automation and BIMlink to export schedules. So it basically launches BIMlink and exports these BIMlink definitions, which are, if you think about them, they are an external Revit schedule that you don't even need to have it in the Revit model. If you have a standard schedule that you want to export from multiple models, then you're able to actually do that. Let's say in this example, door schedule being exported on a regular basis. Let's say someone is not in the Revit model and wants to review what your model looks like. They're able to have that at their desk and review that. Document issue records. So basically we ship a macro enabled Excel template that opens the Revit model and then works with BIMlink and sticky it back into the Revit model. And it's information like the sheet name, sheet number, or the scale or the dates in which they got issued. And this format basically will format everything like this in Excel, and then you can sticky it back into the Revit model and keep that up to date if you would wish to display your information like this. Quantity takeoff, we have a folder in BIMlink that basically construction links, and one of them is the construction QTL. So basically what it does, it exports the raw data in the construction tab, and then we have a summary tab, which is pivot tables that looks at this raw data, and then it summarizes information like total things like sum of something or total length of something. And this can all be editable. So what you can do, you can automate this export and you can set up your pivot tables however you want, and then it will update accordingly based on the data that you want. Kobe data, we also have a folder for that, and you can obviously automate the export of your Kobe data if that's something that you have something to deliver on, and that's something you can manage their parameter values. You can also do model health check, which we talked about briefly. So we have a folder that's called health check within the Ideate BIMlink, and it has these link definitions. HC stands for health check. So it looks for things like imports or dimensions, any other information, model lines, group, etc. And so basically you can export everything in that folder to do that workflow. Next, we have in-place families. So basically here is what that report is going to look like, and I'm going to show you a little video how that looks like. This is what information that came in from BIMlink. So it tells you all the in-place families in your project, and this is just me just showing you that it actually works with Explorer. You can look at Explorer with a dynamic filter to see how many in-place families you have in the model. Lo and behold, we have 20, so its information is basically there, and we have thresholds. So if it's above 10, then it will basically show you that, and it's a warning criteria that you can set up. Then we have information that comes in from Explorer, and this is the warnings. So this is the total warnings that are in your model, and it basically threshold. If it's more than this number, then just do red. So this is information, again, it shows up in your Explorer as such. So the automated task will open Explorer in the background to export that data. And this is how the export will look like. So we have a tab within the health check template that we ship, Ideate warnings detail, and it has a rank, high, low, medium, low ranked or not ranked warnings. And it basically looks for, it basically how you've set it up to be ranked. And then we get a total on that summary page. Then we talked a little bit about Annotate. So it launches Annotate and it goes to the Review tab and it exports a lot of information about that. For example, in here, we have 0 length dimension or duplicate tags or any other information. It tells you what sheet it's on, etc., all the other info that are in your model. So this part of a health check opens Style Manager. So what it does, it opens that in the background. For example, you want to look for your CAD imports in a Revit family or a Revit file, and it also does an analysis. So for example, you want to do line styles or whatnot, you can set that in your task, or object styles, you can run that in your task, and what you're seeing here is one of these tasks that ran. So it tells you how many DWGs that are in the model, and it gives you that report. So this is what the model health check KPIs look like. So this information here comes in from Explorer. This one here is from apps and BIMlink. Then this information is all from BIMlink, and this is a little pivot table that we have, and this is all the raw data, and these are the metric values that you will see. So you can basically set it and forget it kind of thing. So this is how that task is going to look like. So you go ahead and launch automation, go to the Create tab, health check. It gives you the version. It tells you I want BIMlink installed, I want apps. Then to the live model, that's what I want to pick. This is the template that we shipped that I briefly mentioned. Basically macro enabled with everything set up, and it has a summary tab and all the stuff in there. This is where I want it to be exported. I can pick that. This is the file name. This is suffixed with a date if that's what you want, and then the file name with the health check. Then this is where the link definitions are for BIMlink. To run that information, basically goes to that folder, grabs all these link definitions, put them in the thing. Then we can tell it to include annotation issues and only issues that are on sheet. And when you do that, you need to have your worksets open. If you don't, let's say it's not important for you to run annotation elements at this stage of the model, then you can uncheck that and it will open the model with worksets closed. You can have the model worksets closed and it will open a lot faster because BIMlink and Explorer can extract data without you needing to have the worksets open. So in this example, we did open the workset. So it will open all the views in the background to do the clashes and run all these annotation elements. And then all the model metrics information that we talked about, including information about warnings, and that information came in from Explorer. So BIMlink, Explorer, and apps ran. So then when it's done, it basically tells you how long it took. This model took 7 minutes. You can go to the export. We can see it's suffixed with a date, and then the file name, and then prefixed and suffixed. So this is the information that you'll get. This is the formula in which the date in which when it was got created. These are all formulas information get in from BIMlink Explorer and apps with thresholds. This is a pivot table using BIMlink data. You can adjust it however you want. Then these are the threshold that you can set up in your model. So it's above that, it's going to go red. This is the raw data that comes in from BIMlink. Okay, then information that comes in from Explorer, and then apps. And then all of that is summarized in this summary page with formulas, basically does sum of some columns, and then the thresholds are coming in from the pivot metric values threshold. So this is how we see this workflow going. So we have Ideate Automation plus all the other tools working together to export information to Excel. Excel can have formulas, pivot tables, macros, and charts. You can add charts if you want to, or macros, whatever you want. Then it will you can go ahead and take this Excel and sticky it back into the Revit model and keep that up to date. So once this data gets updated once again, Sticky will pick up on it and it will keep that information up to date. And this is how that would look like. We imagine this would be great location for it on the front of the homepage of your Revit model. And so your downstream users are able to easily see what's going on in their model and be able to address issues. So this is what the Power BI looks like. This information here comes in from Explorer, so anything related to warnings, like we said. So information like the file size, the Revit version, the warnings for file size, or the number of warnings. And then there is this file name. You can pick the file name or the date, the timestamp, basically a snapshot of what's happened during that date of the model. And then this is the data over time. So you can see how it's progressing. And then you have these slicers that you can pick. Let's say you only want to address medium ranked warnings this time. So you can control basically and select them to see which one that you want to address first. And each of these metrics have the information on them, so you can get more information about these. Then this information here comes in from BIMlink, so views not on sheet, or model groups, detail groups, model lines, CAD imports, and in-place families. And then lastly, we have the average annotation issues per sheet. This is annotate, basically dividing by the total number of sheets that information comes in from BIMlink. And it gives you a metric with a threshold. If it's more than whatever metric that you set it up to be, then it's going to be red, maybe more than 5 clashes. Right now it's not red because it's not exceeding that. So we pick these metrics because they are actionable and they make a big impact in your model. So that's what we basically want to do. So if we click on more information, you can basically see, you remember these like information that are in here. So I'm clicking on the CAD imports. It takes you to this one. You can sort by your name. Let's say you want to address it, all the model information that you've created or want to remember that you've done that. You can easily pick your name and have a list of all the CAD imports that you've added or in-place families and address that in the Revit model. Then these are the warnings. Remember, we talked about warnings being ranked. So then this tells you, by the way, there's 23 of these low ranked warnings. There is 3 of this medium ranked warning, and it also tells you the description. These are just highlighted walls overlapping, and these are metrics on the totals of what's happening in your model. Then you have any hidden warnings. So in Explorer, you can actually right click hide some of these warnings. If it's something that you maybe want to address not right now, maybe later, you can totally hide them. And this shows you the total hidden warnings that you've added in your model. I guess to conclude, Ideate Automation, as we said, it's a Windows application. There's no additional IT setup. You just kind of install it and run it. You can run tasks off hours. So basically free time for your design. And you can have consistent results. You remove any human errors. And my advice always to keep your metrics simple and actionable. Our website has getting started guides, so you can go ahead and go to automation and then getting started guide to get you basically started. And I always ask the audience if there's anything you'd like us to automate. We'd love to hear from you. And that's, I guess, concludes my webinar.